Where's me jumper? Where's me jumper? Where's me jumper? Where's me jumper?
As part of the gathering in Pallaskenry in June 2013, we held an exhibition in the library. The exhibition was a trip down memory lane for the local girls who worked in the knitwear factory in Holly Park. Okay, the factory opened on the 4th of July 1967. The factory was located in the coach house, which is in the rear of the 18th century Holly Park house. The stables. The knitwear factory was located in the stables. It also had a canteen, and in 1970 they opened a boutique in the stables. The people involved at the beginning were Nigel Glenn and his wife, Jack O'Hain, who was a writer, and his wife Heather, and a young lady from Italy called Michelina Gemma, who is now Michelina Stackpool. From 1967 to into the 70s, over 50 people worked in the factory. Now, when we held the exhibition, an awful lot of people never heard of the factory there. So this was a good idea to bring it to their attention. At least 10 girls from Pallaskenry met at the top of the village on their bikes and cycled up there every morning, and we show some photographs here of some of the girls. And then in later years they bought a minibus, and that collected us every morning and dropped us home every evening. These are some of the designs, and these designs were photographed by a very famous photographer, David Bailey, who came to Holly Park in the late 70s and photographed some of the beautiful clothes. In the 70s, all the knitwear was hand knit, hand finished, so it was fairly expensive to produce. And at that time they wanted to diverse to automatic machines to work side by side with the hand knit. Now the machine cost 50,000, and the directors of the company were prepared to put up 25,000 of that money, but the government would not come up with the other 25,000. So the factory closed in 1974. Mrs. Cohane and Michelina Stackpool were the directors of the company. Mrs. Cohane did the selling, and as you can see from all this wonderful work, Michelina did the designing. There was a clipping in one of the papers at the time in 1974, and it said, "Knitwear or cesspit," and that alluded to the fact that Ahinish came into the district at that time, and the government ploughed their money into Ahinish rather than plough their money into the knitwear factory. We designed a dress for Jacqueline Kennedy. It was called the Jackie dress, shift dress with two little pockets in the front. We sold to the top stores in London: Harrods, Selfridges, Aquascutum, Harvey Nichols. Sold in New York to Saks Fifth Avenue, Bloomingdale's, Neiman Marcus, and the famous Macy's in New York. And the knitwear went all over the world. When the factory closed, Michelina opened a little factory in her house in Ballysteen, and she then came to open a knitwear factory in the village of Pallaskenry. Her knitwear went all over the world. One of our presidents, Mary Robinson, and some of the ministers in the government wore Michelina's outfits. And I think on one occasion the president and one of the ministers arrived in the same outfit to some function. Now, when I went up to Holly Park House with the Pallaskenry Archaeological Society, a lot of people in the group had never heard of a knitwear in Holly Park, a knitwear factory. And this exhibition was to show the girls' families, their friends, the people of Pallaskenry, the wonderful work, the artistic work that these girls did back in the 70s. Now these are samples of knitwear going back over the years, designed by Michelina Stackpool. Now the knitwear appeared in top magazines, Vogue, English Vogue, American Vogue, Women's Wear Daily in New York, Harper's Bazaar, Image magazine, all the top fashion magazines. This particular image was taken at our local beauty spot, Dromore Castle. These are photographs taken in the factory in Pallaskenry with Michelina and some of the ladies working. Michelina won the Wool Secretariat Award, the only Irish designer to win it. Now I hope you enjoyed our trip down memory lane, and thank you very much. And thank you to our wonderful photographer Thierry and our producer Nori.
Wait a minute, where's me jumper? 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 Oh no!